Good morning. Hello, good morning. Happy Sunday. It is it is Sunday, the 24th of May, and I for some reason barely have my eyes open today. And I went to bed kind of early last night, super tired, don't know why. And here I am just hopefully I can make sense talking. No wonder people who get up to deliver their messages on Sunday mornings get up rather early, so their brain is functioning correctly by the time they are trying to put two words together, huh? So here I am sitting in the kitchen. I'll just use up a little bit of time while we're waiting to see if anyone else can jump on. I have a hot tip for you. I went yesterday evening to the one store that's open in our mall for clothes, which is Old Navy. So a friend told me yesterday that they had quite a terrific sale. If you want some clothes for your kids or you want a new t-shirt, I just wanted to show you my new t-shirt that I got there. For those of you who are from or live in California, it says, take the scenic route, Highway 1, California, and these are the California poppies. Fun. So, and I told you yesterday before I signed off that I was headed to the farmer's market, where I ended up not buying any produce because all the produce was not the things that we needed. I ended up not buying a potato or a head of lettuce or anything because it seemed like everything they were selling were things that we either don't use normally or we already had. So I went to the grocery store, but at the farmer's market, I got these earrings. So you can find vendors that have little things for sale. There was a man there selling soaps that I wish I would have bought a soap from him, but I didn't do it. Next time I will, because they were just beautiful soaps embossed with like flowers on the top and different designs that he had made, and they were $3 or something, and they had all these fragrances, like different floral fragrances or lavender or something. And I thought, all we do is pump soap now. Maybe I should buy a nice, pretty soap. Maybe next time. Hi, Nancy. Good morning. I was just talking about the farmer's market yesterday. So, right, so we are in Genesis 27. Wow. And I posted on my timeline this morning Greg Laurie's interview with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. It was just a short little interview, but if you're one that prays for our leaders, it's really a good thing to watch because he tells how he gets through his day and what he's fighting for and his values and how you can pray for him. And I just thought it was really insightful and honest. Um, yeah, how would you like to wake up every day and you have your Bible on your desk, which he's in frequently, and he's been asked to move the Bible off of his desk out of the view of others, and he refuses. It's awesome. And you also have a book to review each morning that tells you which nations or sites are hotspots in the world or in our country that you need to be aware of regarding terrorism and everything like that, that he has to go through and see if he needs to give attention to. So he's a really humble guy, and he He's a surfer from Orange County, of all things, and in California, and not living there now, but that's where he grew up. And just he realizes he was so humble, recognizing that he could have never put himself in the place that he has right now at such a time as this, like Esther. And he just knows that God has done it. And he just really wants to obey the Lord. So I recommend you watch that if you can. Hi, Kelly, and hi, Gail. Breezy morning. Oh, breezy over there. Gail lives a few minutes away from me. Not much stirring here. Our weather can be a bit different. All right, so I'm on page 79, and this is the part that where Jacob defrauds Esau. And let's read through here and see what happens. When Isaac was very old, and he was also blind at this point, he called for his oldest son Esau and asked him, "My son?" "I'm here, father," Esau answered. "As you can see, I am now an old man," Isaac said, "and I may die any day now, so please take your hunting gear, your bow and arrows, and go out into the field and hunt some wild game for me. Then prepare me a savory meal, the food I love, and bring it to me. After I eat it, I will bless you from my innermost being before I die." Oh, isn't that beautiful? I'll bless you from my innermost being. Wow, so beautiful. That's why I love the Passion Translation. Now Rebecca was eavesdropping, boy, on their conversation. So when Esau left for the field to hunt for game to cook for Isaac, she found Jacob and said to him, "I just overheard your father say to your brother Esau, 'Bring me some wild game and prepare a savory meal for me, and afterward I will bless you in the presence of Yahweh before I die.' Listen carefully, my son, and do everything I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 of the best young goats. I'll cook them for your father and prepare a delicious meal the way he loves it. Then you take it to him to eat, and your father will bless you before he dies." This is shenanigans 101. I feel so badly for this guy. Jacob objected. "But my brother Esau is covered with hair and I'm smooth skin. If my father feels my hairless skin, he'll know I'm not Esau and he'll think I'm a trickster." A trickster, isn't that funny? "And I'll end up bringing a curse upon myself instead of a blessing. Ugh, that'd be horrible." "My son," his mother said, "let any curse against you fall on me alone. Just do what I say and go and get the goats for me." Oh my. So he went out and got the goats and brought them to his mother. She prepared a delicious meal just the way his father loved it, and then Rebekah picked out the best clothes of her older son Esau and put them on her younger son Jacob. She covered Jacob's hands and the soft part of his neck with goat skins. Then she handed Jacob the tasty dish. Can you hear the airplane? I have the door open. There's an airplane going over. Then she handed Jacob the tasty dish and the bread that she had prepared, and he took them to Isaac. "Father," Jacob said. Isaac replied, "Which one of my sons are you?" Jacob answered, "It's I, Esau, your firstborn." Oh, terrible. "I've done as you asked. Please sit up and eat some of this delicious game you love so that you may give me your innermost blessing." Isaac asked his son, "How in the world did you find game so quickly, my son?" "Yahweh, your God, caused it to come right to me," he replied. Oh, my Lord. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please, please come closer that I may touch you, my son. I really need to know for certain that you are Esau." So Jacob inched closer to his father Isaac, who felt his skin and said, "You sound like Jacob, but your hands are Esau's." Because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's, Isaac was tricked and did not recognize that it was really Jacob, as he was about to give him his blessing. Isaac asked him again, "Are you really my son Esau?" You know, here's the defining moment. "Are you lying to me?" Jacob answered, I am Esau." "Then bring the food to me," Isaac said. He's blind. What's he going to do? "And let me eat my son's game. Then I will give you my blessing." So Jacob gave his father the food, and he ate it. He brought him wine, and he drank it. And then Isaac said to him, "My son, come near and kiss me." So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac recognized the smell of his son's clothes and blessed him. That was the last thing that he needed to give Jacob his blessing. It was the smell of the clothing that they had dressed him in. And this is the blessing that he was intended to give Esau. "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a lush field that Yahweh has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew, the fatness of earth, and an abundance of grain and new wine. Let peoples serve you and nations bow down to you. May you be master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Those who curse you will be cursed, and those who bless you will be blessed." Oh, okay. Esau's lost blessing is the next section. So no sooner had Jacob left from receiving the blessing of his father Isaac than his brother Esau arrived home from hunting. He too prepared a savory meal for his father and took it to him. He said to Isaac, "Sit up, my father. Eat some of your son's wild game so that you can give me your innermost blessing." Good morning, Barbara. His father Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" I'm Esau, your firstborn son," he answered. When Isaac realized what had happened, he began to tremble and shake violently. Wow. He asked, "Who was it then that hunted wild game and brought it to me? I've already eaten it all before you came, and I gave him the blessing. Yes, and he will be blessed indeed." That's the power of his words. Wherever they went, they landed. Mm. Then when Esau heard his father's words, he burst into bitter weeping and uncontrollable sobbing. He said to his father, bless me too, father." Isaac answered, "Your brother was here and deceived me. He's taken away your blessing." He took it, the heel grabber. Esau exclaimed, "Jacob, that heel grabber, the name fits him perfectly. Now he has tricked me twice. He stole my birthright, and now he's robbing me of my blessing." Then he asked, "Father, haven't you reserved a blessing for me?" Isaac replied, "You don't understand. My blessing will empower him to be master over you. I've already given him all his brothers and relatives as servants. My blessing will richly provide him with grain and new wine. What more is there left for me to do for you, my son?" Esau pleaded with his father, "Is that the only blessing you have to give? Bless me too, my father." Esau could not hold back his tears, and he wept loudly. And then Isaac, his father, spoke these words. The Septuagint actually inserts a sentence in here that I think I'll read to you. After this section here where it says Esau pleaded with his father, is that the only blessing you have to give? Bless me to my father. The Septuagint says right there that Isaac remained silent. So what had been done was already done. Esau could not hold back his tears, and he wept loudly. Then Isaac, his father, spoke these words. So he does speak finally, but it's far less than what Esau wanted to hear. You will live far from earth's bounty. You will live far from earth's bounty. This is really sad. Sorry. And far from heaven's dew on high. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. And when you grow restless, you will break free from his control. That doesn't sound like a good ending. Esau hated Jacob because he stole his blessing. He said to himself in a short time, my father will be gone. After the time for mourning his death has passed, I'll kill my brother Jacob. So I think he got pushed over the edge, don't you? Two huge things stolen from him. And, the first one, the birthright, we can see how he was foolish. The second one, this one, we see the conspiracy of his mother. And really, he was doing what he was supposed to do. But when Rebekah found out about her older son Esau's plan, she quickly sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, listen, your brother Esau is planning to exact revenge by killing you. No problem, look at the mess I've gotten you into. My son, you must do what I say. Run away at once to my brother Laban in Haran. You can live with him for a while until your brother calms down. I don't know about Rebekah's counsel at this point in her life. After your brother's anger has died down and he's forgotten what you've done to him, I'll send a messenger to bring you back from there. Why should I lose both of my sons in one day? Later, Rebekah said to Isaac, I'm so disgusted with our Hittite daughters-in-law. I'd rather die than see Jacob marry one of these local girls, these Hittite women. So there's the motivation of her heart, right there. Okay, so that is the entire chapter 27 of Genesis. Thought we would read a few things in the notes. I hope that you will comment and give me your feedback on what we're learning today and some thoughts that we're, all having. Okay, so in verse 10, when Rebekah is instructing Jacob to go out and to get the meat or the goats, the best young goats, and she'll prepare it. It says in the footnotes, Rebekah thought she was pursuing the best course, for she remembered Yahweh's promise of the older son serving the younger. And, she knew that that's what had been promised, that so she could not stand to see Esau, who had broken her heart by taking foreign wives. She couldn't stand to see him receive Isaac's blessing. So the entire episode attests to the conniving nature of man and the overriding purposes of God. This was the part that I underlined because even though there is this connivery, if that's a word. There is the overriding purposes of God, and they cannot even be thwarted by our sin. So he will have his way ultimately. And then in verse 29, where it says, let people serve you. This is Isaac's actual blessing. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you, and may you be master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Those who curse you will be cursed, and those who bless you will be blessed. I wanted to read Hebrews 11:20. Oh, it's actually right here in the notes. It says, the power of faith prompted Isaac to impart a blessing to his sons Jacob and Esau concerning their prophetic destinies. At first glance, it does not appear to be an act of faith, but rather a blunder for Isaac to bless Jacob instead of Esau. But God called it faith in the book of Hebrews. And all of this was contrary to Isaac's natural inclination. Instead of doubt or unbelief, he acted in faith when he blessed Jacob rather than Esau. He acted, he was trusting God. You know, he smelt the clothes, he felt the arms, he ate the food, he was trying to do the right thing, and all of it was faith. And God bless that. It is the nature of faith to give always the priority. Our priority must be God's will rather than our own. And Abraham showed us this when he delivered up Isaac. It was one of those, not my will, but your will be done, you know, like Jesus. And it's all, you know, it's those moments. I'm trying to capture a moment for you when you are having to make a decision that you're not sure how it's going to turn out, but you're making it in faith and you're looking to God. Isaac had to give up Esau and his opinion of how God was going to accomplish his purposes because he believed that Esau was the firstborn and that he would receive the blessing. And at that moment, when he realized he'd been tricked, you know, he had to surrender to God again in faith and say, you know, I thought I was doing what you instructed me to do. He could have gotten really mad at God. Don't we sometimes do that? Like we feel abandoned by God. There's sort of other things that come in to distract us from our faith, where we want to be doing as God instructed us, and something reverses and we don't understand how it happened. And all we can really do is say, God, everything I carried out, everything I did was looking to you. And I thought that this is what you wanted. I truly believed in my heart that I was acting in my old age and blindness according to your will. You know, let me see what. Yeah, Rebecca was filled with fear and control. Yeah, yes. All that's really good, Gail. All of this sin is being brought out to the surface. And all of these things can have the part, they can be like the moving parts of the tricking, of the conniving, of the, in the beginning when it says she was um, eavesdropping, all of this, that's an element of control. And so all of those things were kind of pushing things along to become sin ultimately. And so, yeah, God's order, or Isaac's faith said, this is what I wrote down. Isaac's faith said, God's order has changed here. This isn't what I thought was going to happen, but will he still accomplish his purposes? And I believe Isaac was saying, yes, you will still accomplish your purposes because you're God. And I believe that you understand what's happened here and that your will not be thwarted. So in Hebrews 12:17, excuse me, I want to read this to you. We know that later on, when he wanted to inherit his father's blessing, he was turned away. Even though he begged for it with bitter tears, it was too late for him to repent. This is speaking of Esau, and I wanted to talk about this too. Um, how in verse 40, how he wept and how these bitter tears were coming out when he realized he'd missed it. And I'll read you what the notes say here. Esau would be given all the provisions that he would be needing later in life. But Isaac reverses the order. The fatness of the earth is given first because Esau would be a man with his heart attached to the world. He would live by the sword principle, always retaliating and unable to forgive. So the damage was done. How many believers today have enough of God to get by, but live with unresolved anger and unforgiveness like Esau? Hebrews describes Esau as somewhat careless about God's blessing. That was what we just read in 12:17. Let me just say that again, that he knew later on he wanted to inherit his father's blessing, but he was turned away. Even though he begged for it with bitter tears, it was too late to repent. It was too late to change what had happened. And the descendants of Esau were the Edomites, and these were a violent people, it says, who raided caverns and pillaged cities, kind of like pirates. And here is the evidence of what happens when one sin, multiplies into generations. And I remember, my in our family, our father, who in later in his life gave his heart to Jesus, and I have vivid memories of him with his hands raised in church, worshiping the Lord sincerely, many mornings, every morning in worship and prayer with my mom, who had steadfastly led the family for decades until my dad surrendered his life. But in the earlier stages, pre-Jesus, pre-conversion, I do remember my dad being full of things like fear and control because of whatever he had experienced in his life. I'm just thinking about how the sins of the fathers are passed down. And he was abandoned at age, I think it was 5, with his mother. And our grandfather left them for another woman. And he grew up basically fatherless and trying to help take care of his own mother at such a young age. And, things get said and rehearsed, and bitternesses grow, and fear grew in my father, I think. And he steered clear of people groups and developed, I'm sure he had prejudices, and that we learned those and we had to unlearn them. And the things that our parents are exposed to through hurt and pain and poverty and sorrow and abandonment and bitterness and unforgiveness, things that are done to them, we have the power to unlock for our families, for ourselves. I mean, just for ourselves alone, it's important to come to understanding and realization. I'll never forget when I had, my first housemate who was not the same color as me, and the shock for my father to come into our home for Thanksgiving, came with my mom to have Thanksgiving with us, and just to watch my housemate graciously work with him so that he would not be afraid of her, because he distanced himself for so long from people of color, and that was a hard thing for him to unlearn. But he did. He was successful and was loving and kind and understood the sin that had been passed down to him. I know I'm digressing, but I want to read to you what the power of a father's blessing actually does in a person's life and how we can live. In verse 37, um, the notes say where Jacob has said, or I'm sorry, Esau has said, Jacob is a heel grabber and he's taken my blessing again. Isn't there anything you can do for me, Father? Basically, and the notes say this demonstrates the power of a father's prophetic blessing. It can shape the future of our children. The words we speak over our children can make them or it can mar them. Be sure to speak life and blessing over your children. Life and blessing is the power of our tongue, and we need to use our words for life and blessing. And if there's any correction, it should be towards life and towards blessing. And even when we correct our children, we should be doing it with the end goal of them being in a path of life. So let me see if there's something over here that people are saying that I've not seen yet. Gail says, I never thought of this. Isaac believing it was Esau was an act of faith, and all along the word of prophecy was being done. Yeah. And then Barbara said, we want to take control of our own lives, but trusting and putting all faith in God, doing his will, trust and obey. Yes. Good, Barbara. It's so hard to fight our human nature to do our way. And Nancy, we do have to keep an eye on our heart when deception comes against us so we do not fall into sin. Even when we feel we are not receiving the blessings due to us. Yeah, just to watch over our hearts. So good. Thank you. I never thought of all Dad went through as a child and then as a man. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Yeah, what we go through shapes us, and we have the honor of partnering with God to unravel those fears and misnomers and ways of handling people in life, opinions. My goodness, just raise a teenager and you'll be challenged in your opinions. It's my daily life. Okay. Let's see. The very last note in chapter 27, verse 45 says that this would be the last time Rebecca would see her son before she died. Wow. So tomorrow we will be in chapter 28. Is there anything else you'd like to say or comment about? And anything you'd like to, I don't know if you all were on when I showed you my earrings. I know this is time for you to type. I'm just filling the time while you make your comments. But I told you I went to the farmer's market yesterday and they have a jewelry person there. They have lots of different vendors. So this is a little cross. I didn't have any cross earrings. I just thought, I don't know why. Don't have a cross earring. Well, it is Sunday. Maybe some of you would like to go on my Facebook page and join me later. We're going to have our service live. I'll try to live stream it. If you don't have one, you probably all have wonderful live stream services you're watching, or maybe you just are spending time with God. That'd be awesome too. And your family. Oh, and um, just another little reminder, if you weren't here on in the very beginning of this video, I was saying that I put an interview with Secretary Mike Pompeo, and just it's short, and if it's with Greg Laurie, and you can just it's a little bit at the beginning of his preaching, and then at the very end, if you fast forward, it shows the whole interview and how Mike Pompeo would appreciate prayer, and I think it's insightful. He's in a really incredible place to be serving the Lord. Yes, I'm amazed at how God fulfills his word. Oh, thank you, Kelly. So what's everybody doing for Sunday? What's your plans? Aw, good, yay. Start your Sunday in the Word. Yes, Barbara, you're welcome. Barbara is so blessed. Don't you have a property at the river, and you get to go on your boat and enjoy so much of nature and beauty with your husband? That's so wonderful. I see pictures. Well, anything else? What are you all doing today? I think I'm going to the lake later for a little while. All right. Well, God bless you. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow.